I hate the Irish. I can't get on board.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
This episode of the SinCast is brought to you by NatureBox. Start snacking healthy with NatureBox. Go to naturebox.com/SinCast for 50% off of your first order. All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. It's Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Good morrow, cousins.
Yeah.
Sorry, my wife's been watching a lot of Jane Austen lately.
Oh, I was like, it's got to be some sort of like Downton Abbey or something like that.
I don't know. I don't pay attention.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Scher.
Greetings.
And
Did you say
salutations.
greetings?
I said good morrow, cousins.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go with the formal greetings.
There you go.
Yes. Yes. And so an important day for the SinCast as we recover a long lost episode that has drifted off to time now, is no longer in existence, probably.
I'll tell you what, if we get done with this and Barrett emails us to tell us the audio demon is back, this episode topic is cursed.
Oh, yeah.
Cursed, and we should never do it again.
Yeah.
Don't even say that.
All right. Yeah.
But about 6 weeks ago, we tried to do the Mount Rushmore of composers. It was a great episode, and then it just got fucked up.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
And so we're going to try to recreate that magic today.
Yeah, baby.
I think that even if we had not done this already, the 3-2-1 was already super obvious.
Yes, but we should still do it.
We
just
should
for
still do it.
consistency. Yeah.
But I just want you to, all you guys, to know that the reason we know the answer to this is not because we've already done this episode.
No.
But because it was so freaking obvious that you all should be saying his name right now at the end of the 3-2-1 as well.
Everybody say it in
And
unison.
that's right. And I hope one day, when Monday, when this is published, I'll just suddenly hear out in the distance the name that we're saying right
Thousands
now.
of voices cry
your
out.
windows
That's right.
open.
That's right. So everybody, 3, 2, 1.
John Williams. Yeah, that's some good unison shit right
Yeah,
there.
man.
I'll be honest, I don't even remember who the other three were for sure.
I don't either.
But I knew John Williams was one
Yeah.
before we even recorded the first episode.
Yeah.
This guy is a living legend,
Mhm.
right? I mean, he could have stopped somewhere in the late 80s and he would still be probably the first name up there on the rush, just because so many of his scores in the late 70s and 80s, Jaws and Superman and Star Wars and Indiana Jones, that's like 5 of the most iconic scores ever.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You go up to any random movie fan on the street and they'll be able to sing those scores to you. That means something, right?
Yeah.
We don't just remember the movies. The music is a part of it.
Yeah, and which is crazy because he's doing a lot of these movies with Steven Spielberg, which they're remembered in their own right, but you can't separate one from the other.
Mhm.
Like it's so embedded into it. And I like the variety that he has with it. Not only, when he goes into like Home Alone and Catch Me If You Can and like whole different other genres almost, but even within like the E.T. theme versus the Star Wars theme, one has all horns, one has all strings,
Mhm.
and it's just, he has this ability to almost write pop songs, in orchestral format for movies. It's amazing. It's amazing.
This
Yeah.
is a category in the Oscars that these guys, and it's usually guys, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
get nominated in a lot. And you consider John Williams has been around for 5 or 6 decades, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's at least 5 decades. He has been nominated just for score alone 44 times.
Holy shit.
44 times. He won 5 times. And that sounds like a low number, right?
It really does.
Yeah.
Like, even after all that, it sounds like a low number. He won for Fiddler on the Roof, which is one that I don't think very many people associate him with.
I did not either, because obviously the soundtrack to that play was more recognizable than the score, but the score is really great too.
Mm-hmm. And he obviously won for Jaws, Star Wars, E.T., and Schindler's List.
Schindler's List is my jam.
Oh, yeah.
That's a terrible piece of music to say is my jam.
Yeah.
You don't really jam listening to that. But that's one of those where he really stretched, I think, and took to another genre and style. And again, we would be putting him up here if only for the brass horns of Indiana Jones and Superman and Star Wars.
Yeah.
But the man has range. He can go all over the map. Like you said, Catch Me If You Can, or the choral stuff in Phantom Menace. Which, I don't think he'd ever done like a major choral thing, but I remember cleaning that auditorium, well, thousands of times, because that movie played 24 hours for the first week or whatever. But that was always playing during the credits.
Yeah. That was.
Is that over the credits too?
Yeah. It comes back
it's one
over
of
the
the
credits.
best things about that movie is it goes over the best scene of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it's also one of the best parts of the movie is the score itself. Obviously, Superman. We mentioned Catch Me If You Can. These are just Catch Me If You Can is such a different thing out of all this. JFK is another one that I want to bring up, because JFK is a completely different score than what he's known for. But yeah, Home Alone and Harry Potter and all that. I mean, he's basically your entire movie sound.
As somebody who I'm on an amateur level is kind of musical. And I do creative writing. I like to think I have ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I were John Williams, I would have run out of ideas long before he has.
Mm-hmm.
Because you mentioned Harry Potter, and you'd almost just forget. That's a great theme.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many great variations through the movies as they mature and the kids get older. And it stands out. We're going to talk about plenty of composers who are great.
Yeah.
But a lot of their stuff sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case with John Williams, really.
Yeah, he has this ability to bring emotion, like that Harry Potter thing. The dun 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 dun. That's almost like a nursery rhyme, which is appropriate for this. And when you hear that theme as they get older, it brings you back to like these feelings of nostalgia and like infancy almost. And he can get something like that. He can get like a holiday theme for Home Alone, for a score that doesn't sound anything like a holiday, tune before. The excitement of Indiana Jones, the sweeping epic of E.T., like it's amazing.
Yeah. If there was one two sets of scores that do sound similar, and a lot of times you'll find yourself doing that, is Superman and Star Wars have the same, like when you hear the na 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 na, sometimes it's like, oh, that sounds like. I mean, yeah, most people, I guess a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's Superman right off the bat, but it's got that same kind of, majestic, quality to it. So John Williams is a shoe-in. There's no way that we're ever going to take him down from Mount Rushmore. I want to get one guy out of the way because he's not very well known to us today, but if you wanted to go sheer nominations, Oscar nominations, Alfred Newman has 43 nominations for score alone.
Wow. Alfred Newman.
And he won 9 times.
Newman.
Yes, exactly.
Not Alfred E. Newman, right?
No.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, same here when I ran across his name. His list, the list of movies that he scored that he won for, they're recognizable, but they're also vague. Like, it's like Camelot, The King and I, Love is a Mini Splendored Thing. And then a lot of stuff that I just have never heard of before. And he, spoiler alert, he will not be making our Rushmore because we don't know enough about him. But I have a feeling that if we sat there and listened to a bunch of Alfred Newman, we'd be like, oh yeah, he should definitely be up there.
There'd probably also be like a half dozen of them that we actually connect, that we remember having heard in some variation over our lives, whether we've seen that movie or not. It's just, what was this, back in the 40s and 50s?
Yeah, it was in that sort of that era.
Yeah.
And I tried to listen to a few of his scores, like his best known pieces and everything. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. I need context.
Yeah.
And everything. So,
but he's definitely needs to be mentioned. You say 42 nominations?
43. If
43.
you wanted to go toe to toe with nominations, Alfred Newman's up there with John Williams.
Would be.
All right. Who else? Who do we want to talk about?
I want to talk about Danny Elfman just because he's worth discussing, but I also just saw a piece of news that disturbs me. Apparently, he gave an interview yesterday, or it was printed yesterday, where he is definitely working some of his Batman theme from the Burton films into the Justice League score. And I don't like that.
Really?
I already read that he's taking some of John Williams' Superman and trying to blend it in with Man of Steel stuff. That makes a tiny bit more sense because it's a little bit more like a homage or a callback. But we've had so many different Batmen since, like, I don't want to watch Justice League and think about Michael Keaton.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because it's going to be da 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 da. And if it just appears once, that's cute. If it's a new part of the major Batman theme, I don't like it.
But you liked the callback to the original Spider-Man and Giacchino's Homecoming score.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a complete hypocrite.
You know what? Am I the only one
that
does
wasn't
not...
a callback to another score? It was a callback to a TV
the
show
original.
theme song.
Yeah, that's true. I don't really can't pick out mentally any of the major themes from Dark Knight or Batman Begins or things like that.
Just the drum hit.
And
I guess, yeah.
And there's the that little driving.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just saying that the Danny Elfman score is the most recognizable Batman score.
I agree.
think.
Yes,
but
for
that
sure.
doesn't mean we need to go back to that. That was 1989.
Yeah.
Like, give Batman. You're Danny fucking Elfman.
Yeah.
You're one of the greatest active composers working. You can come up with something. Right?
Who knows? He's calling back, when he was in his heyday, when it was Batman and he was doing the Beetlejuice and Pee-wee's Big Adventure and things like that. And then The Simpsons. He had such a weird cadence to like his things, like the things going on in the background, especially with the Simpsons theme, that it was totally unlike anything else. And he's kind of smoothed out the edges, I think, over time.
I secretly love the Men in Black score.
it's
Especially
a
that
great
open.
score.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm in a singy mood today, by the way. We picked a good day.
Well, and to me, the strange thing for me about Danny Elfman was that he did a lot of iconic scores for a long time, and his first ever Oscar nomination was for Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, and that's an almost forgettable score.
Yeah,
I remember the songs more than I remember the Elliott Smith songs more than I remember that score.
He got nominated for that, but we discussed Men in Black and Spider-Man. He did Dick Tracy. He did Darkman. He was sort of our comic book composer there for a while,
all the way through Spider-Man, maybe even.
Yeah. But you think about all these things he's done with Tim Burton and everything. Those are just classic scores. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He's so different, and so. I mean, we definitely have to consider him, as far as Rushmore is concerned. We have to consider him as a, possible candidate.
That Spider-Man theme is so good. And all these Spider-Man movies that have come since don't even come. Like, I couldn't sing, sorry, Giacchino, I love you, but I couldn't sing any of Homecoming to you except that one little riff that was the TV show theme.
Yeah.
But that... That's perfect. That's perfect. I would let them bring that back. I don't know why I'm such a hypocrite on this issue. I really don't. I guess it's the idea of I can kind of picture myself watching Justice League, this Zack Snyder fire explosion muted color fest, and hearing that Batman theme from the Burton. I just think it's going to be a rip me out of the movie moment.
It's interesting.
Well, you know what? It kind of feels like the Batman franchise has evolved from the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher days. So to hear, and there's no continuity between those two.
Right.
So to have a theme from those older movies into a 2017 movie seems a bit awkward and a little weird.
Yeah.
Now maybe it's just hints that he puts in there.
Yeah.
And it won't be the whole thing that we know and everything. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what it is.
Also, shout out to Nightmare Before Christmas, which my wife just watched on Halloween a couple nights ago, and I feel like I've seen that movie maybe 30 times. Every time I watch it, I have a few percentage points more appreciation for the music in that, and especially his vocal performance as Jack for all the songs that Jack sings. You don't really think about Danny Elfman as a singer, even though he started out in a band.
Yeah.
All the music in that movie just kills.
Even Oingo Boingo really wasn't known for their vocals.
No, not exactly.
They were known for like their prog rock.
They were known for their boingos.
New wave type of stuff. But yeah, what I love about Nightmare Before Christmas is how everything is turned on its head. Like when they have the band come in to audition for Jingle Bells, they put Jingle Bells in a minor key.
Yeah. And it's awful. It's awful.
And you get the saxophone player outside of Jack's mansion and everything. Oh man, I love that score.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah. Another modern master guy is Hans Zimmer.
You got to talk about the Boam.
Yes. Now that's the thing that you were talking. I think you talked about in that last time we were trying to discuss this. Is that Hans Zimmer is awesome, but lately on the Nolan movies, it's been a lot of just I don't know, monotone sounds.
He and Nolan have collectively decided to go down this path. I think they both like the creative decision of the noise, and it started at Interstellar for me, where the dialogue is intentionally driven out by what almost can't even be called music. It's just noises, and it continues with Dunkirk even more. It's not my favorite thing,
right?
But you go prior to these movies, and Hans Zimmer's fucking badass.
Yes. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Crimson Tide.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And Pirates of the Caribbean is you can hear Crimson Tide evolved in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's got that same kind of, he must have gotten out on the water to do this. To do these.
The wind's blowing in his hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I have completed the score.
Yeah. But Hans Zimmer has been nominated 10 times. He only won once, and it was for The Lion King, which is another movie that you may know more for the songs than the score. But he won for the score on that.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You saw they posted the whole voice cast for Favreau's quote-unquote live action Lion King. Man, fuck that movie so hard. Fuck it.
Yeah.
He also did the music for Gladiator. He's kind of our John Williams right now. Even though John Williams is still around making music and everything, he's sort of, I think he's sort of maybe been thrust into that, maybe he's the number one go-to guy right now if you can't get John Williams or something like that.
I guess. I don't know why he's working with Junkie XL so much, though. It's almost like a package deal at this point.
Yeah.
And I think it may have been for Batman versus Superman, where it seemed like he just was along for the ride and just kind of threw some stuff in. Junkie XL was the main composer on that. And maybe at some point we'll be talking about somebody named Junkie XL as one of the best composers of all time. I don't really know much about him, but
be putting a turntable up on the Rushmore or whatever.
It does sound like it, or
something like that.
But yeah, Hans Zimmer, man, he's the king of the bombast, I guess, and he's also what you were saying about Dunkirk has this really good ability to make things like anxiety-producing scores. What you're saying is more sounds.
I think we have to respect that. It's just that we're only kind of just now experiencing this kind of, like with Trent Reznor's stuff that he's doing with David Fincher, where noise can be a score and still help set the mood. And Zimmer's Superman theme, which is kind of funny you just said the bombast thing because it's such a subtle theme, but that's my favorite thing about Man of Steel and even Batman v Superman. I like that theme. So I don't know how much of that's going to continue with Elfman doing Justice League. We'll see.
What do we think about Henry Mancini?
Mancini's come up with a couple of things you very well know.
Yeah.
It's very popular pieces of music.
Such
him.
as?
Well, he did Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Okay.
He did Peter Gunn.
The one that goes, what about Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Yes, he was a member of Deep Blue Something.
Okay.
Right.
and a little known fact, but he also did Baby Elephant Walk. He wrote Moon River for Breakfast at Tiffany's.
He did the Pink Panther theme.
He did the Pink Panther theme.
The Peter Gunn theme is a TV show, but it still counts as far as.
You know what's interesting about the Peter Gunn theme? You know how the dum 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 dum. The person who played that guitar lick, John Williams.
Really?
Yes.
Did you say
Holy
John
shit.
Williams?
John Williams.
Fuck.
I literally found that this morning, and I was
It
like,
was-
oh, that's awesome.
It was also on this game I played on the Commodore 64 called Spy Hunter.
Oh, I remember Spy Hunter.
They used that music?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
They may
saw-
they may have I don't know if they changed it or if it was the same one or whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm just remembering it wrong.
It
but I
seems
think
right.
but I think it's right.
So, speaking of Baby Elephant Walk, I saw a video on Reddit a couple days ago. I sent it to my wife, and we were giggling about it all day. It's basically footage shot by pedestrians set to 911 call audio. And basically, these 3 elephants got loose in this city. And so the first little bit is this guy calling 911. He's like, there's an elephant walking down the street. And the cop is like, excuse me? He's like, like those animals from the circus? I think he got out. Like a real elephant. And it's kind of awkward and funny. And then the cops start talking to each other because they're trying to figure out where all of them are. And at this point, one person has led one of the elephants back to the tent. A second one is at this intersection, and there's one outstanding elephant. And this other cop comes on and says, "Any other animals we need to be worried about?" And the dispatcher's like, "No, just the one outstanding elephant." And it ends with this cop calling in. We found the 3rd elephant. He's just eating someone's tree. And it's actually an elephant eating someone's small maple in their front yard. The whole thing is set to Baby Elephant Walk. Really fun video. I'll send it to you guys later.
That's awesome.
Another master we will have to talk about is Bernard Herrmann.
Yeah.
Ooh, Bernard.
Indeed.
They used to call him Bernardo.
Indeed.
I don't know.
Or Bernard. Bernard Herrmann. He didn't get nearly enough Oscar nominations, I don't think.
That's crazy.
He has some of the most iconic scores for Alfred Hitchcock movies, especially. But 5 nominations, 1 win.
One win?
1 win. He got nominated for Taxi Driver, which was the last score he made before he died.
Oh, that was his last. Wow.
Yeah. He didn't get nominated for Psycho. He didn't get nominated for North by Northwest or Vertigo. Those are all the music when you hear it. So yeah, 5 times and 1 win. And that stuff for North by Northwest and Psycho and everything.
Yeah, man.
I'm pretty sure that John Williams looked up to Bernard Herrmann. In fact, there's even I think there's a piece of music in Star Wars where they're in the Millennium Falcon and they're in the stowaway crap or whatever, where he puts his cargo when they gets boarded and everything. When they get out of they get out of it, you hear the very tail end of something that sort of alludes to Psycho.
Oh,
I believe that's what happened.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Composers putting little Easter eggs in there.
Yes.
But what's great about the Psycho score is not only everybody remembers eek, eek, eek,
Mm-hmm.
but that score all the way up until that, because I think it kind of fades when Anthony Perkins is doing his whole thing with Janet Leigh and everything. But when she's driving out, at the beginning of that movie, when she's driving out with all the money, that score is super awesome.
Yeah.
So it's more than just the shriek knife thing,
Right.
Just like Inception is more than the wham.
Yeah.
The whole music in that whole movie is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's done some scores that you really just immediately recognize and are amazing. I don't know what he did to the Academy. He must have been like a Scorsese or something like that, where he just didn't get the accolades that he deserved or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's a shame.
Who else would we like to talk about?
Bernard was the name of James Franco's butler in the Spider-Man movies. Your father only obsessed about his work. Good night, Bernard. Anyway, you pointed at me. I'll say Alan Silvestri.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been around a while.
He has.
And he's one of those guys. I guess he's probably, one of those go-to guys, right?
He is.
He is now.
I mean, he's doing a lot of the Avengers and stuff like that now, right?
Right, but I'm thinking more of the stuff the 20 years prior to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's another interesting case. He's only had 1 nomination for score.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised.
1, and it was Forrest Gump.
Oh, well, that's a great score.
It's a great score. But Back to the Future, which immediately when you hear it, Contact, which has a great score. Obviously, he's very well known for the Zemeckis stuff.
Yeah.
That he's as tied to Zemeckis as Williams is to Spielberg. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know if he has anything beyond what he's done with Zemeckis that we just immediately gravitate.
I think I
toward.
just personally love the Back to the Future score so much that I might have inflated Silvestri's worth. I don't know, because it's so good. I would think it's as good or better than some of that early Williams theme stuff.
It really is, and it's got multiple themes in it. You know,
It does.
The ones that I love, these scores that you can listen to over and over again. Same thing with the Elfman Batman score. Is they have multiple touchstones, and they're not necessarily tied to one another. But you know, for each part of Back to the Future, you can instantly call back the score for it. You know, and especially the big da 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 da.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry Goldsmith,
Ooh,
obviously.
Yeah, baby.
Boy.
Another guy who, you know, I mean, this when we did this before, it was already tough. I mean, we came up with these composers who are just all just super accomplished. Goldsmith, though, 17 nominations,
Wow.
one win, still seems kind of low.
One win.
Lopsided.
Yeah.
Who are all these wins going to all over the years?
I think they
Alfred Newman.
Well, the thing is it's all the same guys usually that
Yeah.
are getting nominations, and I think it just keeps getting passed around
Yeah.
to all these people, and the more and more you get nominated, you know, the more chance you have. I mean, remember Williams only won 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so some of these guys, you know, it's just a matter of what year you're in and what you're up against and all that. It's just really strange though to hear some of these composers one win or one nomination or low amount of nominations.
Can I read the list of
Do
some
it.
of his stuff?
Do it.
Because it's insane. Star Trek motion picture.
Yep.
Now, we had talked last time about like how much of his input he had with the show's theme.
Yeah.
But he definitely did, you know, the first iconic score for the first movie.
Yeah.
He did the Sand Pebbles, Logan's Run, Planet of the Apes, Patton, Papillon, Chinatown, The Omen, Alien, Poltergeist,
Holy
Gremlins,
I mean-
Total Recall, Basic Instinct, Air Force One, LA Confidential, Mulan, and 3 Rambo films.
Well,
Yeah.
what's
It's
interesting
fucking crazy.
stands out to me there is the Basic Instinct one, because
Yeah.
that score is perfect for that movie. It is,
Uh-huh.
it's almost campy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it just shows how much he can treat the movie as a unique thing. And not, I mean, that's a pretty varied list of films and styles and scores, and it's hard to argue with that list when you, except for Air Force One, when you rattle them all off like that.
Yeah. So the one win was for The Omen.
Go figure.
You know, out of all the stuff that he's really well known for.
I mean, you would know if you said Jerry Goldsmith, you know Star Trek, Alien for sure,
Chinatown.
Poltergeist, Chinatown. Those are all award-worthy.
he was really good.
Scores.
He was really good with those, like, you know, mystery movie type of things, right? Chinatown, LA Confidential, which has got some roots in Chinatown. And Basic Instinct, you know, it's like he knew how to make those like real mysterious and, you know, and maybe even a little campy in Basic Instinct's case. But Goldsmith is definitely up there, man. He's got to be considered as far as one of our greatest.
He probably would still be going because I think he died fairly early. He was 75 when he died in 2004.
Yeah.
He died right before I was supposed to see him at the Symphony
wow.
Center downtown in Nashville.
What a
Wow.
bastard.
I know. I was getting geared up. I was like, I'm going to go see Jerry Goldsmith. And he's dead.
Well, we were talking about going to see John Williams. He
Oh, yeah.
came to Nashville to direct the Nashville Symphony in his own scores, but that was the same weekend as Wizard World, so
Yeah.
we couldn't go.
That's all right.
We had to.
Maybe he was in costume at Wizard World and he was checking us out.
I just like the idea that we were like a block and a half from that guy.
Mhm.
That's cool enough for me.
Yeah.
It's like when Stan Lee was at Wizard World. I'm like, I don't need to go see him or pay for an autograph.
Right
I'm
there.
breathing the same air. I don't even need binoculars. He's right there. Anyway.
Another one that we threw around was Howard Shore. Now, Howard Shore obviously has some great music for Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
That's about all we know. Like right off the bat when you hear Howard Shore. 3 nominations for score. He 2 of them are for Lord of the Rings movies, and then Hugo he got nominated for. And then I was looking through his list, and it's like maybe The Departed, as you may know for Howard Shore, but he hasn't gotten quite up there yet as far as like many iconic scores and everything like that.
That's weird because Scorsese's worked with a lot of different composers. I mean, you mentioned Harriman doing Taxi Driver,
Mhm.
and then Shore doing The Departed. I would not have guessed that in a million years.
Yeah.
Well, and Howard Stern did Gangs in New York.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's not very well known. He used a pseudonym.
An Alan Smithy score.
Yes. Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about Thomas Newman?
Yeah.
This is a guy that I will willingly admit a lot of his stuff sounds the same
Mhm.
or is at least very quickly recognizable as Thomas Newman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I love it. I
Yeah.
accidentally watched in order the other day Road to Perdition, Passengers, and Finding Nemo. And I was like, this guy's a fucking genius.
He did all of those?
Yeah.
No shit.
Like in Road to Perdition, I'm paying more attention to the music now that it's running over and over on Cinemax or whatever it is. And it's got two great themes. It's got that boom ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da, and then it's got that Jude Law theme that's all bouncy, like doom, 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 doom. I love me some Thomas Newman music. I'm convinced. I was telling you the other day. I'm convinced that's part of the reason I keep watching Passengers, because I'm not going to find anything in that movie that's going to turn it around for me. But I keep watching it.
Yeah.
Like it keeps winning the TV Guide battle when I'm flipping around against a lot of movies that are way better. And I think his score has a lot to do with it. It just kind of sets the right, I don't know. It feels like I'm getting a shoulder rub.
Yeah. Well, okay. He can
You know
rub
what I
some
mean?
shoulders, maybe.
Because he just makes you feel warm and good and cozy. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. He is a feel-good type of composer. Now Newman, he does have. I think he does have a varied enough career. It's just one of those things where you can hear his other stuff in other scores,
Yeah.
like in Finding Nemo when they're pushing the net or pulling the net down
Yeah.
and everything. It's got that Shawshank
Yeah.
music in it, essentially.
Although the Shawshank music alone kind of makes me want to push for this guy. And I don't know if
Yeah.
I will, but the Shawshank score is
The
fantastic.
Shawshank
Mhm.
Redemption score is great, and he also did American Beauty, which is very iconic. And I know we say iconic a bunch, but that's
Well, I mean, I think American Beauty is one of my favorite scores of all time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Every time, because I just did an outtake with American Beauty, and anytime we see like a shot of over a neighborhood or something like that,
Yeah.
like it wasn't Bad Moms, immediately I'm going to say that too. My name is Lester Burnham.
Yeah.
You know? But then like every time I watch that on YouTube or something like that, I'll sit through the entire scene because you'll hear that doop boop 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 boom, whether it's xylophone or it's blocks or if it's fucking glockenspiel or whatever the fuck it
he's
is.
using.
It's just so unique. You don't hear anything like that.
I have it on authority that there are 37 different types of mallet instruments. Just saying. I'm joking. But my point is there's like
I would
82
not-
names for that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Newman has been nominated 13 times for score alone.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So he's up there, including Passengers. He got nominated for that.
Well, it's a great score, man.
It really is.
Got nominated for Bridge of Spies, Saving Mr. Banks, Skyfall.
Oh, that's a good score, too.
And of course, that was another Sam Mendes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they
thing.
must like working together.
Wally. Now, when I say he's been nominated 13 times for score, I mean 13 times or just generally. I always mean score. He's been nominated 14 times if you add songs and stuff like that. And then, stuff like The Good German, which I saw once and I don't even remember much about, A Series of Unfortunate Events. Road to Perdition, another
Yep.
Sam Mendes. And Unstrung Heroes, Little Women, and then, of course, The Shawshank Redemption was his first ever.
Did he win for that?
No. Has he ever won? He may have
Oh
won.
no, I don't think he ever
He's
won.
never won.
What?
Yeah, he's never won.
You would think he would have gotten swept up in all that American Beauty love, and
Yeah, you would
know?
think.
Well,
yeah.
especially because the score for American Beauty, now it does sound like a lot of Thomas Newman we get later.
Yeah.
Like that Jude Law thing I was singing from Road to
Right.
Perdition. Very, very percussive, but I hadn't heard a lot of score like that. And I think it fits that movie perfectly because it keeps you off kilter the whole time you're watching, and the movie's brilliant in sort of telling you what's coming and then lulling you into a false sense of security, but keeping you off kilter. That score is so important to that movie. It's a shame he got overlooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since we're on the Newmans, we discussed Alfred and Thomas. Might as well talk about Randy Newman.
Where do you stand on Randy Newman?
Now, Randy Newman.
I don't stand on Randy Newman because that's rude.
Yeah, it is
Well,
rude.
and
It is
short
rude.
people got no reason to live.
I just can't. Whenever I hear Randy Newman, I think of the end of Volcano, where it's playing "I Love L.A." As you see the smoldering remains.
I think Newman is probably known more for songs than he is for score, but he's been nominated for score 8 times.
Wow.
And you know, an all-time great is the Natural soundtrack. It's absolutely fantastic. He's never won for the score. He has won for 2 songs. He had this crazy streak at one point of never winning for song.
Good.
And then then finally he won for If I Didn't Have You from Monsters Inc. and We Belong Together from Toy Story 3.
I fucking hate Randy Newman songs.
Oh yeah,
I can't stand him. I hate the way he sings. I hate his whole thing.
So I'm
There's a little
assuming
Bob Dylan in your Randy Newman
yes,
impression.
maybe so.
I'm assuming you're a huge fan of that Family Guy. I believe it's in the first season
I do remember
where he's singing about everything people are doing.
He's looped in with Elvis Costello as like these new wave like rock pioneers and everything. I could not get more of a difference in opinion for me for Elvis Costello versus Randy
I love
Newman.
me some Elvis Costello.
Me too. Fucking Randy Newman, and it's God bless him. He's doing well for himself, but I just cannot stand to hear his songs, his voice. It's just great. Something. The scores are good.
Have I already told the story about Elvis Costello's guest appearance on Frasier?
No.
Because he's been hired by the coffee house Frasier and Niles go to all the time, Cafe Nervosa. But he's playing obnoxious, super British accent, like pub songs, like Tie Me Kangaroo Down and shit like that. And the people are all singing, and he's loud, obnoxious. And basically, Frasier and Niles spend the episode trying to find a new coffee house because they don't want to deal with this obnoxious guy. Anyway, by the end of it, he pulls Niles up on stage to do the shaker egg. And by the end of the song, Niles is just fully committed. He's like dancing around, shaking the egg, and Frasier's mad at him for giving it. Anyway, good episode. Most Frasier episodes are good, but
yeah.
Another one would be James Horner. Horner's another guy who has a lot of the similar themes keep popping up in everything that he does. And I'm pretty sure I told this story before, and even on the one that got lost. But I remember watching A Beautiful Mind, and the Universal logo comes up, and as soon as I hear the first 2 notes, I said James Horner. Because it's just the way it is.
Yep.
He had been doing a lot of the same stuff. Like Sneakers is, I believe, the score that everything is derived from.
You think?
Like Sneakers has stuff later that shows up in Apollo 13.
I can hear some Sneakers in Field of Dreams though too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he does that dramatic reverb low piano hit where it's
Oh yeah.
and that's in Sneakers and Field of Dreams.
Right. So maybe it's even Field of Dreams. I'm not even thinking about that far back, but Sneakers, like, in Apollo 13, when Kathleen Quinlan is looking up at the moon, and there's that nice little, and I'm not going to try to do this. This is going to just butcher it, but the music that's playing with Kathleen Quinlan is almost exactly the music that's playing when Redford and Kingsley start talking to each other in Sneakers.
Interesting.
And then he's obviously also known for like Braveheart and Titanic.
Yep.
He had a streak there where he just couldn't do anything right. He got in every Best Picture that he could. Everything was working for him. 9 nominations for score alone. He won for Titanic.
Yeah, I think rightfully so.
Yeah,
I love that score, man.
Yeah,
I mean, unironically, I love it.
I
know
don't,
it's super Celtic, but I
hate
fucking
the
love
Irish. I can't get on board.
Go back to Ireland with your potatoes, you motherfuckers.
Go back to Germania.
It's my island. Oh no, man! I just, not just the theme, but like, I don't know, like that's another one that captures the feeling of that movie, and the feeling of that movie can be saccharine at times. It can be almost inauthentic, but it's almost purely emotional, and I think that's what very emotional indeed. And I feel like that's the score, man, and I'm on board with it.
There's 2 things I'm going to be doing today: singing too much and sidetracking us too much. There's a great episode of Friends I saw yesterday where Monica had not invited Joey's mom to her and Chandler's wedding, and Joey wanted her to invite her, but once she got the invitation, she was offended that she got it late, and so Monica had to call and try and coax her into coming to the wedding, and Joey had coached her to say, they hate the Irish. And she said something about the post office probably lost our mail, damn Irish, or something like that. And Joey's like, yeah.
He also did the score for Aliens.
Ooh.
So we have Goldsmith doing Alien, and we have Horner doing Aliens.
And then who did the third one?
I don't know.
That's exactly my point.
That's right. It was. I mean, it's probably
Atticus Ross.
You know what? It's probably exactly somehow, some way it was Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor because of the Fincher connection, or it was Madonna.
Right.
And we all remember those swinging, club tunes.
I am
going
quite
on in
sure
Alien
Madonna
3.
cannot read music, let alone write it.
So, and then you have James Newton Howard.
James Newton Howard. There's all these Howard, Newman, Newton, James, Jay,
crazy.
John. There's a lot of overlap in these names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
By the way, as an aside, when we were joking about Howard Stern doing the score for Gangs of New York, it was indeed Howard Shore who did it. So Howard Shore did a lot of these modern day Scorsese movies. So
Okay.
I don't know when he started, but I've noticed it goes back to Aviator and Gangs of New York.
That's a
and all
good
that.
score, Gangs of New York.
Yeah. So, but James Newton Howard, 8 nominations, 0 wins.
See, I'm telling you, I think the Oscars are disappearing into the ether.
Yeah, I know.
It feels like we should get to somebody who's won 9 times to make
right.
up for all this.
Yeah, think about Alfred Newman won 9 times.
I guess so, yeah.
but like you think about it, it's all these different scores, and just 1 year you have to possibly win an Oscar and everything, and just there's always going to be somebody. There's like how many? We're going to be talking about a lot of like crazy good composers here,
Yeah.
and they're all competing against each other every year.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It seems like something's got to give somewhere. Somebody's got to feed the monkey. But James Newton Howard. It's funny. I know him mainly for The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, but he did not get nominated for those. He had 5 nominations before The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable came out. So
Interesting.
I felt like those scores were, if you think about Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, those are scores that you'd think, that got nominated, but no, they didn't. But The Fugitive, he got nominated for. Fugitive's got a really good score.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
So there's another guy that we could talk about. Anybody else?
No, I want to say one thing about that guy. In Split, when the Unbreakable theme kind of comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know you've mentioned before that you recognized it immediately and knew something was coming. I think the majority of the public did not see that or hear that. And I know my wife is always telling me she loves how much music is important to me. Like Boppy's song comes on the radio and I'll be dancing as we're driving down the street, and she doesn't think people are like that. They don't connect to music and connect music to memories the same way that I do. Do you think we're unique in that? Because as soon as I heard, I only just recently saw this movie. As soon as I heard that, it was all suspense over. Not that I didn't already know it was coming.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, it was right at that scene, though, right?
but what I'll say about it was, I knew that Split had a surprise. I didn't know it was that.
Ah.
I thought that the surprise had already happened. Like, oh, okay. It was kind of like Signs, where
Right.
you're like, okay, I mean, I guess that was a surprise. Whatever. I thought it had already just been done. So when that music started playing, I wasn't like, oh, that's Unbreakable. They're going to tie this into Unbreakable. I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, he's just repeating.
Yeah, he's
like,
just repeating
same
his.
shit. Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing that came to my head when I
Interesting.
first heard it.
Interesting.
And I was like, God, that's just the exact same score. Why don't we just copy and paste this shit?
Man,
And then Bruce Willis shows up. And you're like, oh, okay.
I get fucking chills when David Dunn goes to the train station and the score just builds so slowly.
Yes.
That dunk, 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 dunk. That like the strings don't even come in for several measures, and then they slowly get stronger. God, that scene is awesome.
Oh, it's so good. By the way, in our superhero thing last week, when we were talking about what powers does David Dunn have and everything, we were basically like, well, he's another Superman and everything. We forgot the fact that he can tell when people have done crimes and crap.
Also, we
Touch them and figure out what they've done wrong and everything.
and well, he's only going to go after the non-date rapists, though.
Yeah.
I said Star-Lord doesn't have any powers, but by the end of Guardians 2, he's like half planet or something.
But he goes through like 1 7/8 movies without having any powers.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
It requires the planet though to have powers.
I don't fucking know.
He doesn't have powers now.
That's
Unless they just make him have powers suddenly. Like, they could be like, yeah, the destruction of the planet, all the power went inside your body. That's the type
they can
of bullshit.
say
exactly
anything
what's
they
going to
want.
happen.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought it required the planet for him to do it, but yeah, you're right. He doesn't show any propensity for powers.
Can I throw out a stud?
Throw out a stud.
That I would really love to see in major contention, Elmer Bernstein.
Yeah, man.
Elmer Bernstein.
This guy, it absolutely floors me. I love every single score because it's orchestral, but it's jazzy. It could be something like The Magnificent Seven, which is so memorable, all the way up to Ghostbusters, to one of my personal favorites, Stripes.
Yeah.
Which is like an Aaron Copland concerto, basically. It's like an American, just gorgeous piece of music. It's militaristic, but it's fun.
Kind of belies the movie on top of it. Right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
He also did Airplane, which is that hearing about how the Zucker brothers came about Elmer Bernstein to do their music and everything is just funny because they were like, I don't think they gave him much to work with, or it was he's a big deal.
Yeah,
and like they somehow
it's on the
landed
10 Commandments for fuck's sake.
They somehow landed him and everything, and he's like, man, and he gave us a score that we just didn't deserve. something along those lines or whatever. But The Great Escape is another one. He's done a lot of like really, really great stuff. He's been nominated 9 times. 9 times.
9 times.
He won for Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Okay.
But yeah, Airplane and Ghostbusters are my best known of him.
You can't sing any Thoroughly Modern Millie right now?
I can't.
But Ghostbusters is another score that has probably 3 themes to it. Like, it's very much like Back to the Future, and it may be just because they were from the same era. But every time you see a scene, like when they're walking down the steps of the university, or they're coming out from the firehouse or something like that, you can associate that piece of score with that scene just mentally. I love this guy, man. I think it's absurdly talented, and I think overlooked in conversations like this because he did do a lot of comedies.
Yeah.
He did do Stripes. He did do Airplane and Animal House and Slapshot and fucking things like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Magnificent Seven, 10 Commandments, like these are heavy hitters.
He does have a friend named Cheddar who shot himself with his own gun.
I am white trash. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, future is an Uncle Tom.
No, you're right. Elmer Bernstein probably doesn't get enough love.
Right.
And he's made some of the most like memorable type of music and everything. So I wouldn't have a problem with considering him, but it's just a stacked category.
It is.
That's the reason why these people have only won 1 or 2 Oscars. I'll bring up another one. I'll not get his name right, even though I took 4 years of French in high school. I'm going to fuck this guy's name up, but Alexandre Desplat, I believe is his name.
Excellent.
8 nominations, 1 win. His win was for Grand Budapest Hotel. He's basically sort of taking off where Mark Mothersbaugh started with the Wes Anderson movies, because Mark Mothersbaugh is really well known for his Wes Anderson stuff. But you listen to Grand Budapest Hotel, it's sort of like a continuation of what Mark Mothersbaugh had been doing.
What is with these new wave guys and their talents? Like Mothersbaugh and Elfman are both in these like...
It's so interesting how they got into all this, Like they're in a rock band, they're trying to get laid, all that stuff. And they're like, what I really want to do is score film.
I've scored
I want to
enough
score
in
chicks.
real life.
Yeah. But his win was Grand Budapest Hotel. He got nominated for Fantastic Mr. Fox as well. So he's been with Wes Anderson for a little bit now. But he's another guy that he does a lot of stuff. Now, I wrote down the notes on this on the previous one, but I don't remember the other scores he may be known for. So let me look at that real quick.
Desplat.
I don't want to bring up somebody like Alexandre Desplat. and be like, oh shit, it's just those two Wes Anderson movies. Well, okay, so The Imitation Game, Philomena, Argo,
fuck yourself.
Yeah, and The King's Speech, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and The Queen. He's been nominated for.
Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yeah. Which, keeps it got surprising amount of Oscar nominations for a movie so terrible.
God, it's so fucking
for a movie
boring.
where Brad Pitt looks like a toad for half of it.
Anybody else you want to talk about?
Should we mention Ennio Morricone?
Yeah.
Well, of course.
I've actually been threatened, I think humorously, that if we don't talk about him, we'll be in big trouble.
Morricone's another interesting case as far as his peers giving him awards and stuff. He didn't get very many nominations. Remember, his first win was for The Hateful Eight.
Right.
And he got, let's see, he's been nominated 6 times. And of course, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the big one,
yep.
and The Untouchables is another big one. When you look at Ennio Morricone's filmography, though, I get the sense that he probably wasn't as lavish with praise by Americans up until much later in his life, because he probably did a lot of Italian movies that we haven't heard the scores for. And but the ones that we do know, like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and all that, those are the it's immediately famous and everything. But you look at his list and it's like, okay, he hasn't done a lot of stuff that you just immediately know what that is and everything. And I think that's what hurts him a little bit in a conversation like this. However, the stuff we do know him for is outstanding.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Untouchables is my favorite film score, period.
Yes.
And that's over anything John Williams made. There's only been... I could do that all day. Jurassic Park, Untouchables, and Star Trek 6 are probably the only soundtracks I've ever bought.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now, Star Trek 6... who was that? Cliff Idleman, I think. Not worthy of this discussion, probably, but it's got an
one of the ones that
amazing
won
theme.
3 Academy Awards.
Oh yeah, probably. He's been winning all this time. And Jurassic Park obviously has 2 or 3 great themes. John Williams at his best. But Untouchables is my favorite one ever. I've had the cassette, CD, and I have a digital copy now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can't get enough. I actually had somebody on Twitter tell me, I'm watching Untouchables for the first time. It's just me, or is the score the most distracting thing ever? And I was like, motherfucker, it's just you.
Yeah.
The score is fucking awesome. What are you talking about?
I mean, that sets the mood, from the opening credits.
Yeah,
man.
and it just goes all the way
piece
through.
that you were singing.
Yeah.
And then it's so different from, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I think the Hateful Eight score is fantastic. And even though it's for technically, I guess that's not really a spaghetti western, much like Django was. I think that's more of like a murder mystery western.
It's got
thing.
Yeah, it's got this weird amalgamation of
Yeah.
Agatha Christie and John Carpenter and all sorts of and I guess you could throw a little bit of spaghetti western.
Yeah,
in
but
there,
it's
too.
my point
But
is
it's
that
not-
it's different from
Yeah.
the stuff that he did with the Man with No Name trilogy and things
Right.
like that. And I got to give it up for variety and somebody like Thomas Newman or somebody like Danny Elfman and Morricone to be able to switch on a dime and say, I'm going to do this type of thing, which is not, it's out of my idiom.
Another one that I want to mention is Carter Burwell.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was the drummer for Dave Matthews Band.
I don't have any idea.
I'll bet you $5 the drummer for Dave Matthews Band's first name is Carter.
It's Carter, and it's probably like Burnwell or something like that.
I know I'm not 100% wrong.
It's
much like Shepherd's Pie.
Burwell has only been nominated one time, and it was for Carol.
What's his name?
Carter Buford.
Yeah! Look how close I was! You motherfuckers!
But Carter Burwell is mainly known for stuff that the Coen brothers have done and Spike Jonze. And if you've watched any Spike Jonze or Coen brothers, you've heard some Carter Burwell, and his scores are amazing.
They are.
Fargo is great. Didn't get nominated for that?
That's
are you
insane.
fucking kidding me?
And that was an awards darling too.
Yes, it was. And maybe Burwell was getting some sort of like, well, you're kind of new here, so fuck you. I don't know what kind of scores were getting nominated in 96. It's probably like all-time best ones. And
I think the Academy just hates Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah, I think so too. They were like, wait, the drummer from Dave Matthews? We're not giving him an Oscar anytime soon.
Guy.
But he did the score for Being John Malkovich, and he did
Great score.
And it's just he's just those scores really put you in that mood. Fargo especially puts you in that I don't know, it's perfect. That opening title theme is just majestic, and it's a small town, but it prepares you for this like crazy story you're about to see and everything. Burwell's great though. I don't know.
Do all the Coens?
He has done the bulk of them. But let's see, like who did Miller's Crossing? Yeah, he did do the Miller's Crossing, so he's been around since then. That's 1990. Raising Arizona probably was not him. No, it was. Fuck me. He's been around for the Coens the entire time. There may be like one or two he hasn't been on, but
Intolerable Cruelty.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he read the script on that one.
You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I'm good.
I forgot another soundtrack that I own. It's probably the fourth and only other soundtrack, The Incredibles.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to at least give some lip service to Giacchino. I feel like if we were doing this in 10 years, he would be a shoo-in. I'm not sure his resume currently has enough home runs compared to, because he did Rogue One, it's kind of forgettable. Spider-Man Homecoming was kind of forgettable. His Star Trek theme is the best Star Trek theme ever created.
Great. Yeah.
And I could listen to that all day. Incredibles, he's another guy that genre hops plenty. All the piano stuff he did for Lost, which technically shouldn't be considered here, but got to start with J.J. Abrams on Alias, and both Alias and Lost were really great about using soft piano moments, and he's just created some great themes there. Works his ass off. He may be one of the hardest working composers going right now.
You came up with 2 points there that he's done some scores that are you may not, they're forgettable or whatever. I think every composer we've talked about today,
I'm sure you're right,
does forgettable scores, because a lot of times they're just getting hired to just, hey, bang this out real quick.
Well, Giacchino only had 4 weeks for Rogue One.
Yeah. And so, every one of these guys, we look at John Williams and his 44 nominations, but he's got like 100 and something credits or whatever.
He probably scored Terminal.
Yeah, I imagine he did. But Giacchino's, he's won 2. I mean, he's nominated 2, and he's won for Up.
Which is a fantastic score.
Yes, it is. I think I still know him more for Alias and Lost, but he's a guy, when I see his name on a movie, I know that I'm going to like the score usually. And The Incredibles is a great one too. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't get nominated.
Yeah, and he goes,
maybe it did. No, it did get nominated.
Shifts gears from Incredibles with this like 60s spy boppy, dun 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 dun. And like I think the next one he did was Ratatouille.
Yeah,
which is like this French infused, like all these completely different instruments, but just such a great. I love Ratatouille.
Oh yeah, sorry, Ratatouille was the one that got nominated, and Incredibles did not.
Okay,
didn't he do War for the Planet of the Apes?
Yes,
that was one of my favorite parts of that movie. Because there's very little orchestration with it. It's almost all percussion.
I'm really curious how that movie's going to hold up.
Me too.
Because I really enjoyed it, but it's just one of those. I have an inclination I might not enjoy it as much the second time through.
Yeah,
I
could see.
I'm a little worried about that.
It's different from Dawn. Dawn gets better each time that I watch it.
I agree completely.
But there's just not nearly as much action in War. There's more themes. There's more Woody Harrelson doing Woody Harrelson stuff. But yeah, that score, man, and that's another one that's completely different from any of his other shit. Like it's just all you could just imagine like apes banging rocks on something and making that score. It's so great.
Okay, I'm going to start listing them now, just going through it. So Maurice Jarre did the iconic score for Lawrence of Arabia. So we need to mention him. He had 3 Oscars for movies he did for David Lean, which is Passage to India and Dr. Zhivago. But he also did Dead Poet Society, which has got a great score. He had 8 nominations total, 3 Oscars. I mentioned Henry. We mentioned Henry Mancini earlier, and he had done a famous piece of music on Romeo and Juliet, that old '60s one.
Yeah, the Bertolucci one.
No, the Zeffirelli.
Oh, Zeffirelli. Yeah.
He did that. The guy who actually did the score for Romeo and Juliet is Nino Rota,
Right.
who did The Godfather. That's that's one of the all-time greats.
They lean on that theme in Godfather 2 so much.
That's something that's weird to me too. By the way, he got nominated for both Godfather 1 and 2. I guess there's enough original.
Oh, there's got to be because I mean the movie's fucking.
But he's getting 5
hours long.
He's getting the win for that. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every time I was watching it the other day, and I was like, every time I was paying attention to it, it was that theme again. They're back in Italy. They're doing that theme. They go back to Vito Corleone. They're doing that theme. I'm like, all right, we got you.
Yeah. Then we have people who've just kind of done a good score. They maybe don't have a huge resume or anything like that. Johnny Greenwood, who's another one of these guys from a band who's come on to do film scores mainly with Paul Thomas Anderson.
That's another guy that's using sounds.
Well, Punch Drunk Love, my God, that's almost like what Nolan's doing with Zimmer these days. There's so much noise in Punch Drunk Love, and it's dissonant, and it's supposed to unrattle you or rattle you.
I guess
unrattle you.
Now, Punch Drunk Love was wasn't Johnny
Greenwood,
right? But you're right about the score.
Oh, yeah,
it's fantastic.
Go on with your PTS Anderson bullshit.
PTS Anderson?
PTSD Anderson.
Isn't there's a PTS Anderson too, right?
No.
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Who did Spawn and Mortal Kombat.
He's like Yui Bowles' pupil.
Yeah. John Bryan did Punch Drunk Love. Then there is the Trevor Jones, Randy Edelman score for The Last of the Mohicans, which is another amazing score.
Love it.
It's good that we actually this is a good reason we're doing this a second time, because I got to hear another piece of Trevor Jones music just recently in Dark City when I was rewatching it. In Dark City, I tell you guys, I don't really notice scores unless they're just amazing.
Right.
I was sitting there, I was like doing other work, and that's all I mean, Dark City is a fucking phenomenal movie.
Right.
But I was like, the music in that movie is fucking great. I was like, damn, who did that? That was fucking Trevor Jones, the guy who did The Last Mohicans. I was looking at who out of that, it was Trevor Jones and Randy Edelman who did, out of that two, who possibly did the iconic theme. And it's got to be Jones, because Jones did, they gave him, what was the thing? Michael Mann wanted to have an electronic score, and then like 2 weeks or something, and I don't know, it was 2 weeks, but almost before the movie's about to get released, he's like, I want something else, and he got Trevor Jones to whip something up, and of course that's one of the biggest all time things. And then I guess Randy Edelman came in and did a couple filler type of things in there or whatever, but that's one that we need to mention because it's so so famous. John Doyle, that's the guy that I talked about with the music from the Hamlet trailer. That's it's
Henry V, right?
It's Henry V is the actual movie that it's from, but then they put it in Hamlet trailer. He got nominated twice for Sense and Sensibility and for Hamlet. Clint Mansell, he did the famous score from Requiem for a Dream.
Another good one.
Yes, which is a really good one. They later redid that song and put it on the Two Towers trailer. And that's the one. I love the Requiem for the Dream, but for some reason that Two Towers one, maybe it's just the way they did the trailer and everything. That version is the one that I always think about when I think about this thing. That song is called Lux Eterna or something like that. Lux Eterna. I don't know how it's some. I think it's some sort of Latin. He's never been nominated though. Rachel Portman, 3 nominations. Chocolat might be her best known. Emma and Cider House Rules are the other ones that she did. And that's where we come to. There are not many very well-known female composers, and it's probably because Hollywood's a bunch of dicks.
Right.
As we keep finding out every day.
Every day. So if you wonder why there are not more female composers, you have been hearing the news lately.
That's not funny. Why am I laughing?
Yeah.
I mean, Wendy Carlos, I guess, is worth mentioning, too.
Well, that's another one, yeah, because that electronic sort of sound started with Kubrick, right?
Yeah, Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
the sounds of that keyboard stuff that basically they pioneered going through there and everything that we hear in the 80s and everything, hearing a lot of these scores in the 80s too. I can't get enough of that stuff. Maybe it's my childhood.
Do you like the Vangelis stuff?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I love the Vangelis. Brad Fiedel, who did the Terminator score, the very famous Terminator score, who doesn't do scores anymore. Apparently, he's just like, all right, I made my money, I'm done. He's off somewhere else now. But that score's got that real. It's not as electronic as the Wendy Carlos stuff,
right.
But it's got every time I hear it, I'm like, I'm a kid again. You know, I'm like 9 years old every time I hear stuff like that.
And of course, John Carpenter.
I was going to say, we've got to shout out John Carpenter
for sure. John Carpenter,
especially if we're going to talk about electronic scores from the 70s and 80s. We got to mention him.
We just went through Halloween where everybody and their brother did a cover of the Halloween theme song.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, like. There's this push right before Halloween where it's like, oh, I did a cover. This year I did a cover. Trenton Reznor and Atticus Ross did a cover of the Halloween score.
Good for them.
Which was fine, I guess. It turns into a Nine Inch Nails song at the end. But I'm like, you know what? The essence of that score is simplicity.
Yeah.
And when you broaden it out, you're not going to get the effectiveness of it. You're not going to get the punch of it. So just leave it alone, people.
I agree.
All right, so we're going to start putting people up on Rushmore.
We got
Let's do it, baby.
3 slots open.
Yeah. Johnny Williams is definitely up there in the Washington spot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a good face for it.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to nominate Jerry Goldsmith.
I don't think there's much argument about Goldsmith.
I will concur. I will push forth that vote.
I mean,
when you
just
go down
so
the
much.
list, it's impossible not to put him up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also would nominate Bernard Herrmann.
Oh God damn, you're right.
And it's weird because Herrmann, like I said, wasn't like, he wasn't given a lot of accolades as far as the Oscars are concerned, but he's got so many scores that are well known.
Yeah. This is hard. This wasn't as hard last time.
It's very hard.
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 You're nominating. Well, if we're all nominating, I guess I'll throw my support behind Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be hard to argue against Danny Elfman.
And I don't know. Do we just pick our 4? Are we just going to let every one of us pick one? Or are we
well,
going to debate?
I think the last time we did this, we had something similar to this on already. Now, the question is, do we knock Elfman or Herrmann or Goldsmith? I think Goldsmith's set.
I think Goldsmith's
I don't
set.
think there's any reason to try to knock him off. But we can try to knock off Elfman and
Herrmann.
Herrmann.
I mean, I was thinking about, because I really want to make a strong case for Elmer Bernstein, just for sheer breadth and for almost underratedness. But then you look at Bernard Herrmann. Not only did he do the Hitchcock stuff, but he did The Day the Earth Stood Still. He did The Day the Earth Stood Still. He did Citizen fucking Kane.
Yes.
He did the original Cape Fear, and then with Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. I mean, that's a
Herrmann,
tough decision.
I mean, the thing about Herrmann is that he's influenced so many other composers after him.
Yeah.
It's not just the fact. I mean, it's not just the fact that he's influenced so many people. It's that his actual scores are so famous. But if we wanted to knock any of these people off, I think the people who really have a chance are people like Ennio Morricone, Hans Zimmer, Thomas Newman, and is that maybe it? James Horner, maybe?
Maybe.
Do you agree with Bernstein being up there?
So so 5 people then. 5 people trying to knock off Elfman and Herrmann. So,
well, okay. So Elfman's top scores: Batman, Beetlejuice,
Spider-Man,
maybe Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Definitely
just
Pee-wee's
about
Big
everything
Adventure.
Tim Burton has ever done, and Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right, Nightmare Before. That's top heavy. But then he's
Men in
kind of
Black?
gone a little. Oh yeah, Men in Black. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think he's dipped as much. If we pulled his IMDb up, I bet you there's still good shit in the last.
Yeah,
10 years.
that's the thing about doing these composers. We're having to hit the real highlights, and there's so many more that you could go through and talk about on some of these.
You guys
but-
keep going. I'll look up Danny Elfman.
I think Elfman beats Zimmer for sure, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zimmer has. You have Pirates of the Caribbean is his most well known, and then he starts getting, I don't know if you want to call it minimalist or whatever.
Yeah,
with
no, yeah,
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like every time Zimmer's name is on a picture, I love the score that comes out.
That's true.
But it's just that I don't know if you knock Elfman off.
It says Danny Elfman's doing 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed.
Oh, there you go.
All right, yeah.
He's doing that weird quirky music during the 50 Shades movies.
I was a little wrong.
Dun, 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 dun.
He did Avengers Age of Ultron, 50 Shades Grey. He's done all the 50 Shades movies. Goosebumps. Maybe I was wrong. Big Eyes, American Hustle. That's not one I would ever have connected with him.
It is a weird one.
But yes, all the Tim Burton stuff, Dark Shadows. He's still back with Raimi too, so he did that Oz Great and Powerful. So I guess maybe most of his iconic stuff is back in the 90s and 80s. But
I mean, that's powerful enough to put him in contention. For sure.
Just much like we were about to say with John Williams. If he stopped his career at 1989, we'd already have him up there.
Yeah.
Thomas Newman's another intriguing one to try to put up there, but I feel like he's got two main ones, and that's Shawshank and American Beauty. Those are really heavy hitters, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's got enough to knock off Elfman or Herman.
I don't think so. I mean, he's definitely got the number, but I don't think he's got the home runs.
Right. So I mean, this is something that I guess if we were really fucking serious about it, we would have listened to like a billion soundtracks and just like did a fucking 64, what we did with the fucking
tournament.
The tournament. But so yeah, Thomas Newman, I'm not sure about. Horner's another guy that I think he's got like
he's top heavy too.
He's top heavy. He's also, I mean, both Horner and Newman. Like, if I were to make an argument for Newman, then it would have to be Horner up there, too, because they have the same kind of, like, they have, like, two big scores about, and then they have scores that kind of blend together a lot. So, yeah, I mean,
I think we're set.
I
think for variety and for classics, you can't go wrong with John Williams, Bernard Herrmann,
Jerry Goldsmith,
and Danny Elfman.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a colorful... It's saying that a bunch of white guys, but like I think it's got a lot of variety musically up there.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got good faces. Elfman's got a great face. Herman's got this wonderful like German maestro type of look, and Jerry Goldsmith is also bald, so you can have the two baldies.
Can we carve a little tiny Jack Skellington sitting on the shoulder of Danny Elfman?
Ooh, nice!
I think that'd be a nice addition.
It would be nice.
It would be.
And you can have Horner and Newman and Bernstein. And who was the other one that we mentioned?
Yeah, Horner and
Morricone.
Zimmer.
Morricone
and Zimmer. Maybe they can be.
Yeah, I think those five deserve to be at least have a binoculars view from.
I think we should carve them standing off to the side, slowly playing "Near My God to Thee."
It's been a privilege playing with you.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't really, out of all these composers, like I feel like Morricone, like. He probably has more like pieces of music that are instantly better than anything Elfman's ever done, but he doesn't have the number of movies that we know of.
Right.
And there's probably somebody out there who's listened to every Morricone thing. And
My cousin.
Yeah, you can't possibly put Elfman over Morricone. You guys are dicks.
That's Chris's impression of your cousin.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
All right. So I feel good about it.
I do too.
So you want to talk about Nature Box?
I do want to talk about Nature Box.
Ooh, we love it.
We, of course, love it. I mean, by this point, if you've listened to how many episodes, this is what, 96 episodes? You know we love us some Nature Box.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a true love. This is we fell in love with Nature Box.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to sum up my entire experience with Nature Box and how basically everything I get, I like. My most recent order arrived 4 or 5 days ago. And as I do often in life, I'm just kind of singing my activities while I'm opening the Nature Box.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, cheddar, hatch, chili crackers, and I set them aside. And I pulled out roasted almonds. Oh, shit, I meant to get cashews. And I set it down. And Those things are awesome. Salted roasted almonds. Very simple idea. Very simple snack. And then like a day later, my cashews did arrive. So I actually ordered both nuts. And I've had the cashews plenty of times. But even when I accidentally get a snack I didn't mean to get, I like it.
Those nuts are so good, man. The sriracha cashews are my jam.
Man, oh man.
And then the mocha covered almonds.
Those are awesome.
They're like if crack was good, like if crack was good for you, that would be it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Edible crack.
Edible crack.
Exactly.
Big Island pineapple dusted with crack.
I love the pineapple.
Oh, man, my wife will eat that stuff up. She actually said, I hope you didn't order any Big Island pineapple because I still have half a bag left. 2 days later, it's all gone.
I was like, how does she have half a bag left?
Well, she's counting calories these days, and so she has so many nature boxes in there, she alternates days.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But you can't go wrong.
That's
man.
probably one of my favorites that you're talking about there is that pineapple one because it's just like, it's just so tasty and the texture of it is so good.
These Cheddar Hatch chili crackers have vaulted up to sourdough cheddar pretzel levels for me.
I've got to get on that. I haven't had those yet.
I was afraid of them. I actually got them for my wife originally because she likes spicy snacks and I'm not a spicy kind of guy. And, Hatch chili, I don't know what the hell that is, right? Like I was just having lunch with a friend yesterday about how every year or so there's some new hottest pepper in the world. Like it was ghost pepper, now it's Carolina Reaper pepper. What are they going to uncover next or manufacture in the lab? So I ordered these for my wife, but I tried one when she first opened them, and it's not actually very spicy. And I researched later, and Hatch chilies are very much like jalapenos. It's not like one of the spicier peppers like I thought it was. There's just the right amount of kick, just the right amount of cheese. Oh, my God. I mean, I can down a bag in a sitting. I'm not even joking. That stuff is really good.
Now you're making me extremely jealous that I've never had that before.
Well, I should have brought some. I would have had I not finished them all.
Yeah, I would have had I not been a greedy bastard.
I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a Cheddar Hatch chili cracker. I may have today.
Yeah, man. And if you want to snack like us, all you have to do is go to naturebox.com/SinCast.
SinCast.
Enter the promo code SINS, and you get half off of your first order.
50%.
Just do it. Just do it. Give it a shot. We would not be talking about this so much if we didn't like it. So just try it out. You get half off your first order. I promise you're not going to be disappointed. Just do it.
Saw some more tweeter pictures this week from people who had ordered, showing me their snacks, and somebody was showing the Big Island pineapple, and I replied, my wife loves those, and Nature Box hopped in and congratulated somebody for getting on the snack train. It's just show us your snacks.
Yeah.
Show us your Hatch chili crackers. Show us your sourdough cheddar pretzels and your watermelon mini stars. I do like to put the Big Island pineapple over my finger, where it looks like one of those towers at the end of Men in Black.
Yeah.
World's Fair.
Right.
And then I eat around until it's almost like a finger pineapple lollipop.
Oh, that's the best when you can have fun with your food.
I'm telling you, man, don't play with your food is the wrongest shit my parents ever told me.
Exactly.
I love playing with my food.
That was some serious deprivation there that they were doing. You get playing with your food is badass. It's rad.
Man. Look at Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters.
I know.
Or Homer Simpson. With his mashed potatoes in the shape of a big top.
Anyway, naturebox.com/SinCast. Half off your first order.
Yeah.
Do it.
Maybe we should just answer some questions.
Yeah. Let's answer some questions.
Let's do it, baby.
Question. I got something to say. I want the truth. I am listening.
All right. Oh, I like these. We got some really good ones. Go to the Facebook page, SinCast presented by Cinemasins. Go to SoundCloud, go to Twitter, go to email. Let us know. We're getting some awesome questions here. Here's one. I recently saw The Mountain Between Us, okay? And it ended up being both a survival movie and a chick flick. But each half suffers because of the other. What movie successfully combined two genres and was a better movie because of it?
Can I defend From Dusk Till Dawn here?
Yes, you can. Both halves?
As long as you don't mind me tuning you out. I'm joking.
I think that when I first watched this, I was like, come on, pick a lane already. Stop being a dick to us. The first part of From Dusk Till Dawn is terrific.
Yes, it is.
It plays very much like a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
And everything. And then, vampires show up. And you're like, man, this whole good thing with the family and the robbers who are brothers and all that. And it's like, well, this was such a good story, and now you're throwing vampires into this fucking thing. But then I just started thinking about it. where does the story go after if vampires don't come in? It's your typical everyday sort of road picture, I think, at that point. You could probably do something cool by making Harvey Keitel some sort of secret badass or something like that, which is something that a Tarantino script would do.
Yeah.
You know, like the preacher who, you know, we think of him as this good man, but he probably has some dark past somewhere where he's like, you know, ripping people's heads off and shit.
Real McCore.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, all that discussion about, like, you know, challenging his faith and the brother and like, but then, you know, it also becomes probably an hour and a half of Tarantino, lurching after Juliette Lewis a whole bunch.
Right.
It's almost good that there's an interruption here.
Yeah.
And that vampire stuff is so campy and so like, it changes the dynamic of those characters so much. They used to be adversaries. Now they have to team up together and they have to fight these vampires. I still love that Clooney thing too, where he's like, can we just all agree that was fucking vampires? Because I don't fucking believe in vampires, but I know what I saw. And so like now they have to like fight together. And of course you get, you know, some real, I would call A-list, B-list actors or A-list B-movie actors.
Yep.
Tom Savini and Fred Williamson.
Danny Trejo coming in. Although Trejo's one of the vampires, though, right?
But I'm thinking about more of that the team fighting the vampires and everything. You get this terrific cast of people who are just killing vampires, and it's such an oddball thing. You never see that in movies. I've always wanted to. There's we do a sin sometimes where it's like, if this movie had just changed into this all of a sudden, I would have removed 50 sins or whatever. I would love for a movie to start off one way, and we see that only very rarely, like in this, where it seems like a romantic comedy for like an hour of its runtime, and then suddenly horror movie, or you know, or it's suddenly an action film, or you know, those type of things, because it would be just fun just to kind of just break up the monotony of the genre that they're in.
Yeah.
It does get a little unfairly shat on that second half, because it does still have the Tarantino dialogue sprinkled throughout. There's just so much campy action, and the campy action to me goes over the top. It's like Planet Terror. It's a Robert Rodriguez thing, where Planet Terror has me for most of the way until it goes way over the top.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, you get Tito and the Tarantula, the band that turns into vampires. All of a sudden, he's playing a dead guy and everything, and then they disappear. They're never to be seen before. But yeah, no, I agree. I just love that first part so much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And it's not even the first part. It's probably maybe 60% of the movie up until the Salma Hayek striptease, to where it goes off the rails. But I still watch it all the time, man.
Yeah, that first part is so good. The first part is obviously the better part. I guess the movie overall does suffer from it, but I don't think it becomes a bad movie, and I think it does the marriage successfully in the end. Yeah. So
I struggled interpreting this question, so I prepared two answers. Because I couldn't tell if they were. I haven't seen The Mountain Between Us. That's part of the problem. I couldn't tell if they were saying one half feels like one kind of movie and the next half feels like a different kind of movie, or if they were saying it feels like two genres at once all the way through. So my first answer is Hacksaw Ridge, because the first hour is basically The Notebook, and the second hour is basically the beach scene from Saving Private Ryan.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And I'm actually not even answering the question correctly, because I don't think it works that way. I think we need to have 10 minutes of The Notebook and then all action. But it's almost an hour before he actually gets to Hacksaw Ridge. And it's all lovey-dovey, fall in love, my dad hates me, and then he comes to testify for me. They won't let me, they want to make me carry a gun. It's just, you don't even need an hour for all that. And then the second hour is riveting. It's really awesome. Anyway, my second answer, two genres throughout, Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
Stoner comedy and kind of straight up action film at times.
Yeah.
And it does almost do the two halves thing. At least I'd say the first 45 minutes are just stoner comedy.
Yeah.
And then once they get to Danny McBride's and they have that hilarious fucking fight in his house, it kind of like half and half all the way through to the end.
Yeah, that movie like actually gets sort of brutal there for a
does.
while.
Oh,
Like
it does.
it's so different, such a contrast to what we've been seeing and everything. It could be off-putting. I think a lot of these movies that switch genres or whatever, I think that's going to be your initial reaction, is that it's off-putting.
Yeah.
And then only after you, in retrospect, will you be able to say, you know what, that actually is a pretty good marriage by the end of it. So, the next movie that does that, we're going to be like, God, figure out what you're going to be, motherfucker. Like the Cable Guy.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
2 movies in one.
Yeah. Like the Cable Guy is kind of like that too, where it feels like it's supposed to be this big manic Jim Carrey comedy, but it starts getting real like scary.
Yeah.
And that was a movie that forever I was just like, this just doesn't work. And then after a while you start finding out that you watch it all the time and now you know all the lines and you're it's actually pretty good.
Fun fact, when they're playing Porno Password, one of the relatives on the couch is Bob Odenkirk.
Oh,
he's the husband of Steven's sister.
I think so. Yeah. And I don't even know if he has a line. He might have like one line, but it was clearly back in he was a writer mostly, but not a performer days.
Yeah, because he was a writer on Saturday Night Live for a while, and then he only really started performing when he was on the Ben Stiller show.
Yeah.
And which, of course, is why
there's a connection.
Owen Wilson, also all these people that you see in Cable Guy are kind of strung in, or Ben
Andy
Stiller.
Dick.
Yeah, Andy Dick.
The password is nipple.
I'm not going to say that to my mother.
I thought a lot about Shaun of the Dead for this one because I think there's legitimate like horror elements in Shaun of the Dead, and then it's just hilarious otherwise. But I love Crimes and Misdemeanors. Again, divorcing Woody Allen out of the conversation, the person. But Crimes and Misdemeanors, if you watch it again, man, this is a really rewatchable movie because on the surface of it, it's a comedy on one side following Woody Allen's character, and he's fawning all over Mia Farrow and everything. And on the other side, you've got this drama, this murder mystery. It's not a murder mystery, but this murderous plot, almost like Match Point, where Martin Landau is paying to have his mistress killed by his brother. And those are entertaining. And then one side is a typical Woody Allen film. He's on the hook for this commercial like documentary for Alan Alda's character, and then the other one is just more dramatic. And it's Martin Landau he's so brilliant in this, but he's struggling with this decision and the consequences of it and everything. And then when you get to the end of this movie, I love the end of this movie, where no repercussions have come of the crime. He's fucking on top of the world. Martin Landau's character is. He's just like, everything's going well. And then Cliff, the Woody Allen character, is at his lowest form. He's been fired from the documentary. Mia Farrow's married the dude that he hated. Yeah. And he's being essentially punished by the universe or God. And Martin Landau's just like, I'm fucking good, man.
Alan Alda's so fucking great in that movie. He's so great. He's so perfect in that.
Such a scumbag.
Oh, my God. But yeah, I agree with you because it's one of those movies that you're like, how does these stories match up together at all? And they don't. They're not. They don't really.
They're connected by like a rabbi.
They're never
basically.
connected. Yeah. They're just. It's just all to get them.
Did you say a rabbi?
Yeah, there's a rabbi. It's Sam Waterston, isn't it? That plays. Because Jerry Orbach and Sam Waterston are in this movie, which is weird. Law and Order thing. Huh. But yeah, he's one of Martin Landau's patients, and then he ends up being connected with Woody Allen, and they meet at a party. Like a wedding or something like that at the end of the movie. And they sit on this couch together. And you think because of the trajectory of the stories, like halfway through, like Landau's going to prison. Allen's going to figure out some way to escape the situation. And then, it's totally reversed. And the whole, moral of the story is that, you've an indifferent universe that doesn't reward or punish anybody. It's just completely random. And that is fucking great. Yeah, that's why it's probably one of his best movies.
It's a great narrative experiment and everything because that's what sort of plays on your expectations. You're expecting these two stories to sort of interweave in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
And they really don't. It's just the way he wanted to tell the story, and it's really fun.
Ooh. What movie-related song and or film score would you most want to have played at your funeral?
Ooh.
This is a dark-ass question.
It is.
You are essentially asking us to ponder our own deaths for a moment. I'd just like to put that out there, take a couple seconds, process that. Don't ask me any dark questions like this for a few weeks, please.
Okay.
All right. So let's go on. What do you got, Chris?
you familiar with "Everybody's Free to Feel Good" from Romeo and Juliet, where the kid has this amazing voice in the middle of it, where it says, everybody's free to feel good, and that's the way I would feel like I'd want people to feel when they're at my funeral, is everybody's free to feel good. You don't have to mourn this at all, that type of thing. It's an interesting history of this song, by the way, because this is a 1992 hit from Rosala. Rosala did this one song where it's basically this like early 90s electronic type of music, like everybody's free. That's how it basically goes. In Romeo and Juliet, they turn it into this really beautiful, this really beautiful song, really slow and whatever. And that's the song that I know. I didn't really know this Rosala one. I typed in the song to look up some history and everything, and I ran across this one girl. Her name is Louisa Johnson, and she was on the X Factor. And she belted the fuck out of this song.
Really?
Oh my God. I was entranced by it. I started looking up all sorts of Louisa Johnson stuff after that. She's fucking amazing. I was sitting there, I was listening to that. I listened to the next song I was listening to one of the other YouTube things that she's on. She's only 17 when she does this.
Wow.
I was listening to another one, and I was like, "Well, she won, right? who's gonna beat her? She definitely won. I mean, it was like no questions asked.
Interesting.
She won the X Factor. It was like 2015 when she did this. But I love that Romeo and Juliet one. That one and that X Factor. Oh my God! I was just like, my jaw fucking dropped and got chills. Definitely listen to that. It's so good. And she was good on all that. I've listened to some of the other stuff that apparently she's done as a solo artist now, and she's not doing that type of. We need another pop diva, man. We need another Mariah Carey.
Somebody like Kelly Clarkson. She just released an album.
Well, yeah, Kelly Clarkson isn't Mariah Carey, and people who can belt out a big, huge song. Adele is our current one. I
think she's the best singer going right now.
Yeah, for sure. But we need another one. We need someone to come in and try to dethrone Adele. Show her who's boss from time to time. I don't think this girl probably has.
Show her who's boss.
I don't know if this girl has a voice that rivals Adele. Hardly anybody does.
Right.
But holy shit. I'm like, now I got to find everything that she's done because that's how good it was.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
That was some praise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, again, I'm answering with two answers because I legitimately have not yet made up my mind if I want to have a traditional funeral or if I want to fuck with people. So one idea I have had for a while that I don't think I would do is to record a video of myself speaking to the audience at my own funeral and then just update it every year or two. In case I die in between.
Do the Donald Sutherland thing in Beer Fest?
Yeah, yes. But much like you, I there's part of me that wants people to be able to feel good at my funeral and not be sad, even though that's human nature. And so I feel like something goofy would get people laughing because they have that whole gallows humor thing at a funeral that you're more likely to laugh that day at something small than another day because your emotions are running high. So I thought maybe like The Entertainer from the movie The Sting would really fuck with people. Like you get people give testimonials about how much they love me or whatever the fuck. No one's gonna say that. And then when they're done, everybody sits there and they're ready for the song, and it's like do 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 do, and I think people would slowly begin to chuckle and giggle. But if I'm going serious and I want to allow them to wallow in the sadness that is a life without Jeremy, I think I'd probably go with that Max Richter on the Nature of Daylight piece from Arrival, which I have found I have to stay away from. It's a beautiful piece of music, but if I put it on YouTube, I can palpably feel myself getting sad by the time it's done. Like it just hits my emotions in the right way and builds so gradually, and it's just so haunting yet pretty. So yeah, if we're gonna have a sad song, I think I'd have that. The problem is it's like 6 minutes long, so people are gonna be sitting there like twiddling their thumbs or watching a really long slideshow of pictures of me. But those are my answers.
when my grandmother died, I was tasked with putting a CD together, 3 songs to play at the funeral. And she, had a couple. It was like, it was I'll Fly Away was one of them, all like standards and things like that. One was a slow ballad, and one was When the Saints Go Marching In.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to the thing, I was using like Napster or something like that and burning it onto a CD. And I was like, I found this like upbeat New Orleans jazz thing of When the Saints, and I put that motherfucker on there.
Awesome.
And of course, the first 2 songs are low, and everybody's, you see the front just crying and down. And then, and I see my parents just shaking. And I'm like, oh, God, are they angry or are they crying? They were fucking laughing their asses off. So everybody had a good time. I think my grandmother would have liked it.
That's the best of both worlds, though. You give them the sad, and then you hit them with the goofy.
Exactly.
Like, I'll play the really sad strings, they'll be weepy, and then I'll hit them with that a little ragtime on your way out.
My short answer is there's a song called Drown from the Smashing Pumpkins that's interweaved throughout the movie Singles. And, of course, they use Paul Westerberg's Waiting for Somebody throughout the whole thing. But towards the latter half, they've got this doom, 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 boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a good lick.
I fucking love that song. And it's a long song.
No
and it's
matter
about
where you are.
It's my favorite Smashing Pumpkins song. It goes on for, I think, 7-8 minutes or something like that.
It gets loud at the end, though, doesn't it?
Does.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. But it's about, like, no matter where you are, it can still see you, you being connected to you and everything. I'd have that playing over like the eulogy or whatever, make it short, and then when the loud part comes in, everybody just kind of parties. And I think it's just a fucking great song. It's in like a major key, which is different from for Smashing Pumpkins in that era, and it's just fun. Like it's just like a party type of thing towards the end of it.
I can still hear you when you. That's my Billy Corgan.
That is actually, a very good.
It's actually pretty good.
If you take all of the bass out of your voice, then you will have Billy Corgan. All right, let's do one more quick one here. Oh, this is fun. What is a random, odd, unexplainable, or just plain weird instance of censorship that you've seen in a TV version of a movie? This person's example was he was watching Unbreakable on AMC, and during a scene where the camera was panning across the kitchen table, I noticed that the label of the orange juice was blurred. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's so weird, isn't it?
I guess so.
I never understood that a lot. Like you see that a lot on MTV shows sometimes where somebody's wearing some sort of branded shirt.
Yeah, like a Yankees ball cap.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, sometimes it's because it says shit on it or something like that, and they have to blur that out. But like most of the time, I think it's just brands. And
yeah, it's like Jordache. I don't want to
for some reason they can't show the brand. Okay, whatever. I don't, as a rule, I don't watch edited for television movies. I can't. It's a waste of time. There are a few exceptions, I guess. If like there's a movie I want to have on in a background and it just happens to be on AMC or something like that, IFC. IFC doesn't even edit theirs.
No, they just have commercials.
Yeah, AMC though. Yeah, if you put something on, I'm like, okay, yeah. I hate it though when stuff is just cut out and stuff, not just stuff that's offensive, but it's just stuff for time, and that just pisses me off. But there was a time when I was a kid, I couldn't watch some certain R-rated movies and everything like that, and that's the way you watched those movies was by edited for television. And RoboCop has one of the funniest things in it because there's a scene where Miguel Ferrer is at the urinal and his boss is in the bathroom with him, and the boss comes up behind Miguel Ferrer and he's basically like, I'm on to you. I know you want my job and all that and everything. And he's basically saying, yeah, I remember doing that with my boss. We used to call him so many names behind his back, and we'll go through these list of names, and then one is like, we even called him asshole. It's one of them. Like it's supposed to be some big huge thing or whatever. In the edited for television version, it was one time we called him a lot worse.
Oh my God.
That's one of the biggest ones. In Tremors, the funny thing about that is that they change "fuck you." Kevin Bacon like kills one of the Tremors, and like he's like "fuck you" or whatever. They change it to "fooled you." That's a funny one, but it's not an innocuous one. Right. Like you have to change that. Like like asshole. like you can change that to jerk or butthole or anything, but a lot worse. Obviously, and I know that you guys aren't going to be talking about this one, but the famous one that's going on right now is The Big Lebowski. It's been for several years. People have been talking about how the scene where John Goodman tells the kid, this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass.
Yeah.
It's been changed to this is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
That's pretty
So
stupid.
they just did that on purpose, right?
Yeah, they had to have. In fact, that's probably, you would almost have to figure the Coens themselves came up with that.
if you're going to censor it, it has to be the most ludicrous shit ever.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's a big thing. And I'm sorry to keep talking here, but these censorship things and what they decide to censor and what they don't is really fascinating to me a lot of times. And in music, Sublime Santeria. On the radio, they used to cut out punk ass. And like there was I know I'd heard songs say ass and everything.
They used to play that Dennis Leary "I'm an Asshole" song on the radio.
Yeah. So I didn't understand, why do they cut out punk ass? And it's not like they really do it. You can still almost hear it the way they do it, for his punk ass, it's kind of changed. But in the MTV video version, they'd keep punk ass. But any references to guns, they'd cut out. So Daddy's Got a New 45 became Daddy's Got a New. And that's how it ended. You're like, what the fuck, man? Really? You think you're advertising guns? Because
This pretty much defines me as a person. But one of my favorite things about having satellite radio, which I've only had for like a year now, is all the cussing.
Yeah.
In the songs, I don't get any bleeps. I don't get Eminem stuff. Doesn't get bleeped. The fucking DJ today, I was driving down here and he was reading a promo for the new holiday music channel, and he was like, it's not even Thanksgiving, but we're already singing Jingle Bells because we like to get that shit out early.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, he said shit, awesome. Do you have more?
No, that's
so I think I've talked about this before, but when Tropic Thunder's on TV, the whole "you never go full special" conversation really bothers me, because I understand the R word is offensive, but you are still collectively labeling mentally ill people or mentally challenged people with a single word that is derogatory. Whether you're calling them the R word or special or stupid or slow, it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
And the movie is not saying this. These delusional actors within the movie who probably would talk about it like this are saying this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that one always bothers me. I swear, one of the first times I ever saw The Matrix on TV, that scene early on when the dude comes to Neo's apartment and the chick's got the white rabbit tattoo, and he's like, yeah, it's called mescaline. It's the only way to fly. I swear to God, I saw it replaced with meditation.
Oh, my God.
It's called meditation, and it's the only way to fly. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, there are not a lot of multiple syllable M words you could slide in there in place of mescaline.
And it's not appropriate. Meditation? You don't do that to go up.
No, but I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to change it to? I don't know. Anyway, it's called muscle relaxation.
It's called medicine.
Medicine.
Yes. You fixed it. That's it. Good job. Do the Chris Atkinson version. So I watch The Godfather, even though I talk about it all the time. I watch The Godfather start to finish probably once every year because it comes on AMC. And it depends. Sometimes they play the entire Godfather saga, which we've talked about before, is awesome. And then sometimes it's just Godfather 1 followed by Godfather 2. So Godfather 1, I never know what the rules are for network television or cable television or anything like that, where if it's progressed in the last year or something like that. So when Michael goes over to Italy and he gets struck by the thunderbolt, and he finds Apollonia, his Italian wife. And she doesn't even talk to him. I don't think they even have a conversation before they actually get married. And when they do get married, he's going around and talking to her whole family. And when they finally get together, they get in the room the day of their wedding, and they're going to get it on. And so Michael, he's walking up to her, and she's got this nightgown on. And in the unedited thing, she takes it off and she lets it go, and it shows her nude.
So she's naked.
Yes. And AMC fucking takes that shit up to the last split second to where I'm like, I'm fucking fooled every time. I'm like, are they going to show that? Like, because you could cut that whole scene out.
Yeah, you don't
cut it when he
need-
starts to walk towards her.
you
The
don't need the
fucking
scene.
coming down.
That's crazy.
And like, boom, then it cuts off. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm there.
You know, they had a discussion about that, right? You know, they were probably somebody just like you in the office banging his head against the table saying, we do not need to go all the way up to this point. And then there's probably somebody else going, but we got to show as much of the movie as we can.
But it gets me every time too because it's so close.
Because
I'm
your penis out, you're ready to go.
I mean, it's from the 70s, you know, that's considered classic. You can show that shit.
Yeah, it's 70s boobs.
Yeah,
That's not
it's
the
70s
same.
boobs.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Keep going to SoundCloud. Keep going to SinCast presented by Cinemasins Facebook page. Jeremy's manning our Twitter. We've got Reddit. We've got email. We've got a lot of different ways to talk to us.
You can find us.
That's right. But just keep going to that stuff and giving us your questions, giving us your critiques, giving us all those different types of things that we love to read.
Give us your NFL betting picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Your lock of the week would be nice.
Do you need the future? Do you know the future? Please tell me the future so that I can just win like Biff Tannen.
Put some money on the Cubbies.
That's right. Maybe next year, right? We're back to that on the Cubs.
Wait
Maybe
for
next year.
Yeah.
It'll be that way for 100 years.
Yep. But anyway, that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sherrill. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Well, I was listening to an NPR report on the opioid crisis. You know, how states are putting funding towards it. The federal government's not really doing much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I switched over and I Would Die For You is on, the Prince song.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, like, what better advertisement do you have for ending opioid dependence than fucking Prince dying?
Yeah, no kidding.
Just put him up there and be like, this killed Prince.
Yeah.
And I bet you could get a fuck ton of funding, at least in Minnesota.
You're probably going to have to be like, this killed Toby Keith, you know. So.
Oh, I already missed the first laugh of the day. You bastards.
This killed Kid Rock.
Exactly. Just find a way. People will believe it.
Hey, do you like that new Imagine Dragons song?
Thunder?
Yeah.
No.
Ooh, I hate it so much.
I don't hate it. I just don't really like it. I like the...
Is that thunder? Give me thunder. I hate that song.
Yeah.
They say that word like fucking 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that... I don't even want to say the name of it. There's a song that plays on one of those channels, a pop song from like a year ago that repeats. It's that Geronimo song. It's going to be stuck in my head all day now.
Geronimo?
Yeah, the chorus is like, hey, Geronimo, hey, Geronimo. They say Geronimo like 62 times.
Say Geronimo.
Mm-hmm.
Say Geronimo. Oh, yeah. I forget who that was.
Yeah. That's shepherd's pie.
I thought from...
It's shepherd. Look it up. It's shepherd something.
Wasn't it was the pop singer known as Geronimo? Is he the one who did Rico Suave and all that?
That was Gerardo.
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 Yeah.
I wore that tape single out.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
my
love
God.
that shit. Rico.
Suave.
Suave.
And
He was cut too, man.
And then they did some sort of parody on the radio that was Taco Grande. Say Geronimo one more goddamn time.
It is literally Shepherd.
Okay, good. So I wasn't that far off. It's not shepherd's pie,
I
though.
think you should change it.
I saw a Humble Pie song playing on the radio on my way down here. It probably got mixed up. My wires crossed.
So that was from 2014. Wow.
Well, when I pass that on the dial, I can't even hear a note. I have to keep going or it's going to be stuck in my head all day.
I won't play it for you, but I got 34 million views on YouTube.
Lightning and the thunder.
Dude, I was exhausted from yesterday. It was just a confluence of events and late edit and all that stuff. And then like this morning I went to get coffee at like 6:30, 7 in the morning, and that fucking Thunder song was on.
Oh.
And they've got this solo in the middle of it where it's like a theremin or something. Like it's not like an actual guitar, but it's this droning like, and it was just grating on my head. Like, God, fucking.
Oh my goodness.
Imagine Dragons. You ever played one?
No, but
Those are fun as hell.
I bet they are.
Yeah.
They got demons in them. It ain't natural. It ain't natural. That is a cursed instrument right there. Each one personally cursed.
We're doing composers again today.
Lightning and the thunder.
Yes, let's throw Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons in the discussion about composers.
It surprises me you know his name.
Well, there was a lot of think pieces when what was their big hit? Radioactive came out. They were saying because it was on the top of the rock charts for like months in what was that? Probably 2015.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. And they were like, so Imagine Dragons is the biggest band in rock right now. Quick, name the frontman's name.
Oh,
nobody
funny.
knew it.
Wasn't it Kings of Leon that said "fuck Imagine Dragons" in concert? Wasn't it Kings of Leon?
They probably
I could see that.
I'm pretty sure.
They probably were.
Yeah, there wants to talk. Fucking Kings of Leon. It is Dan Reynolds. He's from Las Vegas.
Dan Reynolds. That's like a.
I get Imagine Dragons and 21 Pilot songs confused all the time.
Yeah, they're both like percussive.
They're almost the exact same band.
I don't know. I mean, I think I get why you do that, but like Imagine Dragons did that song at the end of the Magic movie. The I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world.
No, that's not them. That's oh, it is. It is them.
It is.
No, because I get them and the fucking One Republic. Them confused.
Yeah.
Is it One Republic? The
One
one that wrote all of the songs.
One Republic did that. What did they do?
I'll tell you what they do.
They do that.
Counting
Let's Hurt
Stars.
Tonight.
But that's not what they're known for. This is how fucking interchangeable all this shit is. Stop and Stare. The Good Life. The Good Life. I'm not doing that justice at all.
I was going to say that sounds not familiar at all.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Not get me any closer.
Anyway. Oh, it's got to be the good life. Got to be the good life.
Maybe.
Good life.
Maybe.
I think I've heard it.
It's funny, all the other songs you named by them, I know way better than whatever the hell you're trying to sing now. I think that Counting Stars is their biggest hit.
Counting Stars is their biggest hit.
I'm on top of the world. Yep.
What was the Magic movie that...
The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Seriously?
That song's at the end of that movie.
Yes, it is.
Somehow I've seen that movie like 3 or 4 times.
Really?
Yeah. It's not unwatchable. It's just not as funny as it wants to be.
Hold on one second, though.
Jim Carrey's pretty funny.
I think Jim Carrey's funny. I think the part where Carell tries to do the act that definitely requires 2 people.
Yes.
By himself.
Yes.
That's funny.
I like Arkin too.
Yeah.
He's really funny.
So that's a funny movie?
No.
You're not listening to what we're saying.
No. Sorry. I've never seen it.
It's not
I think it got
unwatchable.
Terrible reviews.
I think if it came on and you were watching it, you would have a good time.
I could stick around for the Imagine Dragons song at the end.
I'm on top of the world. Hey!
It was also in. It wasn't in Trolls. It was like in a Smurfs movie or something.
No, I think it's been in like 16 movies.
Angry Birds. It was Angry Birds that it was in.
Excellent.
Yeah, because they were literally on top of the mountain and subtleties for suckers.
I'm on top of the mountain.
It's probably one of those songs now that's probably been in more movies than you think at this point.
It's probably in Neighbors.
Yeah, it's probably in Neighbors for sure. Yeah, I was doing the comments on Facebook of our SinCast presented by Cinemasins Facebook page, and somebody from Australia was like, "I wish you'd stop talking about Nature Box because I can't get Nature Box because I'm in Australia." And somehow, some way, we're going to have to, force the issue with Nature Box here and make sure that Australia can get some damn snacks.
Let's do something stealth. Like, let's order like this massive box of snacks and then just reship it to Australia and have somebody down there just like, I don't know, in the city square, just like throwing that shit out.
Or if somebody gets in a biplane and throws it out of the plane.
Now we're in a Johnny Depp movie.
That's right. Like their rescue supplies or something.
Johnny, are you thinking about Blow?
I guess that's the first one that came to mind. That's not a very good movie to reference. But we did talk about crack earlier.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, it's that is either wasted or good.
Yeah.
And that first like horn hit ends up sounding like
and now it's used in every. It used to be. Do you guys know Carmina Burana, the Carl Orff Orchestra? It's got like the O Fortuna. It was used in every trailer in like the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s. And now the bwam thing is used in every trailer.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But whatever. Trailers already suck anyway. So
Yeah. John Larroquette, 69. He's going to be 70 this month.
Huh.
Who?
Good for him.
John Larroquette.
Sure thought you said John Ritter, and I was going to have to give you some bad news.
Yeah, some sad news that's like, 15 years now?
Yeah.
Well, that's, people miss things.
Shame.
Yeah. I was like, it would have been funny. Like, I've been sitting there in mid-sentence and like sort of in a thought, like, go, John Ritter, remember that guy? I mean, he hasn't done anything in a while. What's going on with that?
He disappeared like Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh, man, I'm going to hell.
You just killed Brendan Fraser.
You did.
Well, I didn't. That's the joke.
Oh, dear.
Hollywood did.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
That's
a nightmare scenario, right? Like we've published one of these things, and we've obviously they're 4 days old usually by the time they get to the published part, and something fucking happens.
It's happened like twice.
Well, it's happened. Like deaths have happened after we've talked about somebody, but not on the podcast. I think it's been after the podcast.
Oh, okay. I thought there was at least one person. We didn't discuss them dying. We just discussed them, and then they died like 2 days later.
I just remember. I can't remember there was two people I know that Barrett and I were talking about. Like 2 weeks in a row, we talked about these people.
John Hurt and
yeah.
John Hurd.
That would be funny if we had talked about John Hurd.
I think you did mention John Hurd.
That's what I'm saying. I think we talked about John
but
Hurd.
I don't know if
Carrie
he died
Fisher
right
we
after.
talked about too.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, it was something like that.
So if Brendan Fraser dies between today and Monday, I sincerely apologize for any hand I may have played in that.
Which you don't, but but that's the nightmare scenario. You sit there and you go, like last Thursday, let's say we were in here and we were like, man, I love Kevin Spacey so much.
The only guy I love more is Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, man. Like right after we posted that Woody Allen stuff, even though we qualified it, I think beautifully, all that shit comes out about like him. I feel sorry for Harvey and all that shit.
Well, that's the thing. He was like, I hope this doesn't become a witch hunt, which it is. I mean, now it is. It's going to be, it's going to be a proper witch hunt.
Yeah.
But, it's
finding the actual witches.
Right.
It's funny. I still see plenty of trolls on certain subreddits and what have you. Like at this point with Harvey Weinstein, 90 women have accused him of harassment, and I think 8 or 9 have accused him of outright rape. That's enough smoke for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go see the fire to know. Like, you don't bring to the conversation innocent until proven guilty about this particular man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now with Dustin Hoffman, we have one accuser, but we only had one with Kevin Spacey, and then 2 days went by, and now there are 3.
Yep.
And now he's seeking treatment, according to an art headline I saw today.
Yep.
I don't know how you seek treatment for being a pig.